first of all, very excited to have this webinar. This is our last webinar for 2021. Woohoo!
Woo!
Yeah, it finally ended. It was a great year actually for all of us, for customer marketers, and that's what we're going to talk about. So today we have Asha and BT. They'll present themselves in a minute, and we're going to talk about a lot of what's happening in the market. What happened this year in 21? What have we seen change? And what are we expecting for 2022? So I guess before we dive into that, maybe BT and Asha, you can introduce yourselves.
Sure, happy to. The name's Barbara Thomas, but I go by BT. I am the Senior Customer Advocacy Program Manager at Imprivata. I have been in the industry for over 20 years. And I'm also an author on the subject matter. My book is called Advocate Marketing, and it's available on Amazon and Pearson Publishing's website.
We're going to promote it today.
Oh, great.
Cool.
Great. Hi, everyone. My name is Asha May. I'm going to apologize first and foremost for the cold that seems to be capturing my throat and my voice. But I'm excited to be here and have this conversation. Customer marketing is near and dear to my heart and a passion. I too have been in marketing for a very long time, but made my way into customer marketing by way of some time in customer success, actually, and sort of was able to bridge what I was seeing as an opportunity to do better in supporting customers, especially in a SaaS organization, with my marketing chops. And through that, have developed a real interest and passion for kind of the different components of what I see as customer marketing that I'm looking forward to talking about today with all of you. Oh, I am, I probably should say, Vice President of Customer Marketing at DataRobot.
Which is very unique to have a Vice President of Customer Marketing these days. We should talk about that as well. But it's a great sign.
Yes.
So one reminder to everybody, first of all, we're going to have this more of a freestyle, open discussion, ask me anything kind of session. So you're all welcome to open your cameras. You should all have the power to do so. So we can see you and kind of engage that way. You're welcome, and we'd love to take photo opportunities during the session and share those. And kind of ask us questions, Q&A all the way. Anything you want to ask, but please do ask it in the Q&A and less so in the chat, because then we can moderate and manage it. So those are our asks to you all. And with that, we're going to start. So, I mean, before we dive in, these are the topics we want to cover today. First one would be kind of, and we'll go through them one by one. There's a lot to discuss, and we'll try to be short and concise because there's a lot to talk about. But the first one is kind of what is, what does customer marketing actually mean, and what has changed in the role? What are the different little intrinsics between advocacy and customer marketing, customer success, etc. Then we're going to talk about focus areas, especially in 2022, both for people who are, some of the people here are very experienced, and it's great to have you all. And how can you kind of elevate your game versus people who are new to customer marketing. This is their first role, or maybe their second, but still kind of learning and stuff like that. How is the whole profession evolving? What have we seen? How did COVID impact the whole game? And then some tools and integrations that all of us should look at going forward, and predictions for 2022. There's also great predictions from Forrester that we can share, but that's kind of what we're going to talk about. And before we dive into the first topic, I did want to just kind of present one more, skip, and just give you a background on CrowdVocate. So CrowdVocate, very quickly, is a customer marketing platform. We kind of look at a holistic journey, which is lifecycle management, post-sale, of all your touch points, we believe that advocacy and customer marketing and references and lifecycle marketing and upsell, cross-sell, they all combine. And our vision is that customer marketing would be the department, the profession, the place that all other departments kind of leverage to grow their engagement with their customers. It's an evolving process. There's education to happen in change management, but eventually product teams and even CS teams, and of course, sales teams and marketing teams are going to reach out to their internal teams of customer marketing, customer advocacy, and leverage them for everything they need. And that way, I think it's a greater experience. We think it's a greater experience for customers, and it's a greater alignment internally. We love having a lot of stuff for the community, and there's a lot of things going to come more in 2022. But for now, you can all join the Slack channel. We'll post it in the, if you're not there yet, we'll post it in the chat in a minute, and you could kind of ask us to join the Slack channel, which is amazing. There's more than 800 practitioners on it. There's a job board if you're looking for jobs, or if you're looking to recruit, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll add your jobs to the job board that we have on our site. And yeah, I mean, basically the way we look at things is a lot around having a lot of touch points with customers in your existing communities, in your existing products. You're tracking their journeys, engaging them in real time, syncing that with CRM, and really making it a 360 process for both customers and practitioners, and of course your internal customers, sales, marketing, whatnot. And with that, enough about us. So one thing I'm going to say is that I'm going to launch a poll in a minute. In that poll, we're going to have 10 winners, and then you could choose a book of your choice. These are books we recommend. We mostly recommend BT's book as it's not an audible, it's like an ebook. But you can pick whatever you want. You could also pick an hour advisory with us. So please do answer the poll, and we're going to dive into our first topic. Let's go. So number one, and again, you can open cameras, ask question in Q&A, and share whatever you like. So what does customer marketing really mean? I guess the first question is, what is the difference between customer advocacy and customer marketing and customer success?
BT, you want to jump in?
I would be happy to. So I know a lot of people use the term customer advocacy. I use advocate marketing. It is, well, in the academic world, it's a different business model than just marketing itself. Advocate marketing is taking your most enthusiastic, fanatical customers and creating campaigns to have them help promote your brand, your products and your services in a positive way. The definition of customer marketing to me is the level down from just overall marketing, and that is your messaging is specifically to your customers. Any kind of marketing activity or campaign that is aimed at current subscribed customers, and so your ask or your messaging is tied specifically and relevant to an existing customer. And customer success is sort of taking advocate marketing and flipping it around. We become the advocates for our customers and make them successful, utilizing the product or the services that we offer. And that's, in a nutshell, that's how I would define and the different areas and explain the differences. Asha, what do you think?
I think I agree with pretty much all of that. The only thing I would probably kind of dig into a little bit further is say that, I love how you you describe advocate marketing. I think if you are looking at customer marketing more broadly, I see that as really including three pillars. If you were to really kind of build this function within your organization, I see that as absolutely customer advocacy, identifying, creating programs that identify and capture the moments that your customers are the most enthusiastic about the value they're seeing from working with you. There's the life cycle marketing piece, which is what BT described in terms of how do you communicate with your customers and support them along their journey, where you're then identifying the moments to then bring up the conversation for expanding that relationship. And then the third pillar I see is really digital engagement. And I think that with the growth of community and really, especially again, for SaaS organizations, how do you onboard quickly and really build that engagement with your customer? I think digital engagement is such an important part of customer marketing as well. And then ultimately, customer success, I've always worked very closely across the organization, but definitely with customer success. I mean, they are the subject matter experts that are ultimately there to guide the customer through that journey and help them adopt and realize value. That's not too far off from what you said, BT, but just
I like that. I liked how you visually laid that out, sort of, the hierarchy there. Spot on. I like that a lot.
Cool. So I want that one quick question on that for you both. Communities, are they part of all of this? Like how do communities, because there was a big movement to communities, there's like a new community-led framework. So how do communities tie into customer advocacy, marketing, whatnot?
Go
I
ahead.
think it's very integral. I think it's extremely integral. The value that community provides really is throughout. I think it even starts before the customer journey. I know in a previous role that I was in, the community that I was responsible for, about 30% of our community members were actually not even customers. And so it's really an opportunity for your prospects to understand what their experience might be in working with you as a customer, should they choose to become one. And then when they are a customer, it's an opportunity to create, to just get stickier with your customer and give a platform to celebrate their achievements with each other.
And Asha, I'm going to take your example and say there are different pillars, or there are different groups inside communities. We've got the customer advisory board community, we have the broader user group community. You can break that down, communities down even more, those who are interested in certain areas, certain topics, certain needs. So spot on with the community value and definition there.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of, so initially communities were a lot of, discussion forums for support, and they were owned by support or customer success. And I think in the last year or so, we've seen so many communities move from CS or from support to marketing. Not yet, I would say, to customer marketing, but to marketing in general. But I think even that would shift. So with that, what are the roles and responsibilities of people in our profession, customer marketers, advocacy managers, reference managers? How do you kind of split those? And what are the more, like, if you had to do a job description and tell them what they're going to do, what's in there?
Oh, gosh, it depends upon what your needs are, I guess.
And where you're coming from too.
Yeah.
A lot of people join customer marketing and they're coming from very different parts of the organization. If you're new to customer marketing and you're coming from a different role, especially if you're coming from an internal role like product marketing or product management, I think it's worthwhile to spend the time and really understand what the customer experience is within your organization. because that will only supplement your ability to be a better customer marketer. Your thoughts, BT?
I really appreciate the soft skills that people have. So no matter where you're coming from, internally or externally, and fulfilling this role, I can't say enough about the soft skills that you have, which many times I lack them. It's just my personality, but I remind myself every day that to practice patience and to put others first, and to make it part of, make kindness part of every day in my role, because I don't know what your day has been up to this point and what you're experiencing. So that is, I place that high in the roles that I like to fulfill and in the responsibilities.
Yeah, putting customers in the center is such a it's such a change, I think, from someone coming from marketing over to customer marketing, especially.
Mhm.
Understanding that it's not about the market and a bunch of unknown faces. It's
Mhm.
actually about a very defined set of people who actually know you already. And they kind of know your warts, and they also know what's great about you. And it's how do you message and foster a relationship with them that's truly authentic. There's a comment in the chat, Gal. I don't know if you want to tackle it now, but it's digging into communities a little bit more in terms of how to grow and retain a community. I don't know if you want to tackle that now or later.
Yeah, go for it. We're all in the Q&A.
So it looks like Mike is asking a question about best practices for growing and retaining engagement in a community. I mean, there are so many different, and I see some of the different people here attending, and I recognize some names who I think probably also have some great ideas as well. But I found that, and I think I learned this through a lot of collaboration with the community roundtable as well. You know, people who join a community, they're always voyeurs first, and they need to know that they can trust in the space that they're entering, and that it's going to provide value for them before they're ever willing to engage. And so maybe understanding what brings them there to begin with, and responding to that initial need. If it's a customer, it's usually, I just need some information to get my job done. I'm not here to talk about my pets or anything else right now. I just need to get my job done. And then over time, those kinds of, to your point, BT, the softer skills and those engaging conversations will happen over time. But there's so many other ways of going about it.
Just to add on that, I think what we see in communities and growing engagement is, yes, one part of it is what you said, get my job done. But the other thing is a bit of what we're hopefully going to do here today as well, is kind of sharpen the saw. So aside from getting my job done or solving for something that I need now, who can I learn from, or what can I learn from in sense of, best practice, whatever. If you're a marketer, it's growth tactics. If you're an IT person, it might be, some hack or thing that you didn't think about. It doesn't matter. But I mean, it's sometimes I want to solve for something that I have right now, and sometimes I just want to learn from others that are colleagues, and I trust them and I trust their advice or their best practices, I think. Cool. And then the last thing we want to talk about here is like the org chart. So where does all this sit in the organization? I remember, I think 3 years ago, the split was very interesting. Some of the customer advocacy teams sat in customer success, and some of them under product, and some of them under marketing. I don't think there was anything else, maybe some cases sales if it's references, or sales ops. I think today it's a bit shifted, or more Even I know Gainsight had a post about how it was first in customer success, then it moved to customer marketing, but how do you see in either your internal organizations or from organizations that you've been at, what is the structure? And I also think like specifically to you, Asha, one more thing is like, and how do you get the organization to put it at a level of VP to make it strategic?
I personally have sat in both marketing as well as customer success as a customer marketer. And I've often been asked, where should it live? And my response is pretty much always the same. It largely depends on the goals and motivations of the executive leading that particular branch. Whether it's chief customer officer or chief marketing officer, they have to embrace sort of the value that customer marketing, customer advocacy brings to the organization and recognize how it's inherently different from, say, demand gen marketing or general marketing activities. That's always been my response. I feel like I've had positive experiences living in both sides of the organization. I don't know, BT, if you have any thoughts on that.
I have always in my career had been in marketing. Now, as a consultant in the industry for my own company and also for other companies, I have reported up to product marketing, marketing, and marketing operations. So there have been those areas that have either built customer marketing or advocate marketing programs that I've been part of, or I've helped build programs for them. I'm a marketing gal. I think it belongs in marketing. I can't help it, but everything is evolving, and we are blurring the lines of our departments, of our internal teams. We all work together, and I know that's what I'm finding in my current role, that although I sit in marketing, I blur right into customer success and into product marketing and because all the advocates I support that I engage and that I'm working with help support their goals and the organization's goals. So we have a governance council that we blend across pretty much everybody in our organization. I even help with legal, making sure they're part of the governance council, because I'm working with them on privacy and security issues and compliance, that we want to make sure when we use customer information and our advocates that we're in compliance. So it's a blend. It's a hybrid from what it was.
Someone in the chat mentioned, brought up a good point in terms of the resources that you then also have available to you, because as in each of our functions, we are working collaboratively across the organization, but ultimately, what you have access to in terms of budget, but then also priority in terms of whether it's getting a newsletter out or, getting that design, engaging with your design team for something with your advocacy boards. I mean, that is going to largely depend on kind of the culture of your own organization. I don't know that there's any one right answer for that.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, at the end, I think, and this is also what we've seen in our recommendation to a lot of the people on the call, back to the org chart. I mean, it doesn't necessarily matter that much where you sit in the org chart, but as long as your manager, she or he understands the resources you need, and she can fight with you to get those. Because if she can or he can help you basically build the programs, build, have customers receive what's, recognition internally, have the organization support customers back because those advocates are supporting you. And so there's a lot of organizational collaboration. And that's why I think many times you need to find a champion, ideally the manager within your organization, to help you achieve all that internally. Resources are not just money. Of course, it's money, but it's also internal teams helping you with your needs when you need to get back with answers to customers, or it's about the other people in the marketing team, like the eventing, helping you when you have customer events, and so on and so forth. So I mean, it's like there's a lot of collaboration that's needed, and that's why you really need somebody in the organization to be a champion, and they should be VP level plus, because that would definitely help you achieve your goals. And I guess with that, let's talk a little bit about focus areas for practitioners in 2022. I will say that we tried, this is I didn't find out how we can turn on everybody's cameras so they can participate, which is very embarrassing for a startup not to figure that out. But we did figure out how to fix BT's name, so one thing at a time. But anyway, so focus for 2022. What should people focus on? And let's start with the different, I guess, personas, people who are new to this, like the novices, if you will, versus people who, like I guess yourselves, who've been around for a while and kind of have done this in more than one company. And I don't know if I can say the word know your shit, but basically know what you're doing.
You did.
Go for it.
Well, I think I touched upon it a little earlier in terms of, if you're new to customer marketing, it's really depending on the experience you bring to the role. How can you complement that? And to the point that we raised earlier, keeping the customer at the center. And if you're coming from an internal role, understanding what the customer experience is. If you're, I think, experienced, I mean, we're all learning all the time. And as I've moved to a different organization, it's understanding the culture. And actually, this was a new one for me, because the company I'm at currently, I joined DataRobot in June. And one of the things I definitely uncovered was that the sales process is just a little bit different, and how that influences the customer experience when they do become a customer, where they might have had, they clearly had an amazing experience in the pre-sales cycle, so that when they are officially a customer, we actually have an opportunity to tell maybe an earlier part of their story faster, rather than waiting, as customer success and sales often asks, give us 3 months, give us 6 months until the customer sees value. We're with the way we operate at DataRobot, I see we're able to tell some of those stories a little earlier. And we're definitely building programs to be able to do that. Whereas I think in some other organizations, it's not always the case. So I think learning the sales process is definitely something that changes from company to company. And I think organizations are always evolving their sales process. So no matter how experienced you are, I think there's always an opportunity to tweak what your advocacy program and your customer marketing program looks like.
So just a question on that. How do you recommend that people engage with sales? Because we always find that when we talk to practitioners, some of them are kind of, sales is king, and, don't whatever they say, okay, versus, what are your tactics to engage with sales and kind of make it a collaborative discussion and learn how their practice has evolved, and also tell them how you can help them in that practice and become influential with them, and not just, hey, I need a reference, here you go.
Oh, let me help with that. I am a big believer of the 3 R's: respect, recognition, and reward. And reward doesn't mean money or anything, just rewarding someone with a thank you or rewarding them in some other way. Sales folks, that's how I treat my advocates, with recognition, respect, and reward. I do the same with the people that I work with. I recognize them, give them the respect that they deserve, and reward them with thank yous and visibility within the organization that they helped, with landing this reference or this speaker or whatever. Share the recognition out there to everybody. That's how I work with not just sales, but everybody within our organization. Again, this is how I want to be treated, and I treat them in a manner that I believe they want to be treated as well.
Absolutely. I was just thinking, BT, as you were sharing that, I am very fortunate to have a great team, a small team, but a team, and the opportunity to work with someone that I've worked with before. And I remember her saying, to a sales rep that was trying to circumvent the process in getting a reference. And her response to this sales rep was, just as hard as I'm going to work for this person to help them get the reference is in the future how hard I'm going to work for you. And so really helping them understand that it's give a penny, take a penny type activity. But I think ultimately, as we're able to showcase these amazing stories of our customers and giving equal time in thanking the account teams. And I always refer to it as an account team. It's not just the sales rep, because in reality, it's a collaboration between sales, CS, and if you have some sort of sales engineering in there as well. But it's the account team and elevating their profile in the organization as well. And like anything with any type of adoption, you find the ones that are really excited and raising their hands, and you give them a platform quickly, and then the others will follow.
Yes. It's so important. I work with our regional account managers that I explain the value of advocate marketing to them in a way that by helping me with my program, I'm going to be helping you, because you are looking at the customer lifetime value. I'm looking at the engagement value that an organization, a customer brings to our company. The perceived value of that engagement is huge. And the more that they engage, and the more customers inside that account that I can get to engage, it is so high. You have such a high level of confidence in the renewal that, and plus you have this high engagement with different people. Churn is not an issue, or is less of a threat. renewal is less of a threat, you really want to work hand in hand, explaining to your account team the real true value that advocacy programs bring to them, because they're going to make their numbers, they're going to make their renewals, they're going to be able to increase their upsells. It truly is helpful for them, and helps your relationship grow with them.
Yeah, you highlighted a really important thing there, BT, that what we're doing with these programs, it benefits the organization and the customer journey throughout the life cycle.
Yeah.
It starts pre-sales, but then it goes all the way through to the end on the other side to ensure that stickiness, to reduce churn. And I apologize, I forget what the statistic is, but I know there's some statistic out there that says, customers who are engaged, customers who you've made advocates and who feel a sense of connection with your organization are much more likely to remain a customer and far less likely to churn. So
for us, the statistic, by the way, is 30%. So when you compare accounts that weren't engaged and advocated and whatever versus the ones that were, you have 30% higher retention.
Perfect. I love that.
Thank you, Cal.
There you go.
That was really great, Cal.
I knew there was a statistic.
I'm happy I can help. Okay, so I mean, and two hacks that I can recommend that we've seen that work. So first of all is baby steps. I mean, with sales, baby steps are always good. Like, for example, just finding a few people who are your internal champions in sales, having them start working with you, them seeing the value and them preaching it to other salespeople is always great, because they trust each other much more than they trust us. And the other baby step is like quick wins and little things. For example, and it ties to what you said to acknowledging them and elevating them. I was sure that when you said the 3 R's, you're going to talk about referrals, references, and reviews, but no, you have two other ones. But I mean, if a salesperson does nominate a customer, and then that customer does take a call, and then that call does turn to a closed one, then really kind of overtelling that story internally, and wow, that was amazing. You nominated the perfect person and they did the perfect call, and that was a perfect win. And even sending a reward on behalf of the account manager to the customer and telling everybody, this account manager or account executive is amazing, so really blowing their horn. But once you do it with small teams and just on small wins, it ripples then.
Yeah, I would even, okay, this is me going off on a bit of a tangent, but if you're building a new program and you're a small team, you're a team of one or a team of two, and you want to get cooperation and get recognition and build it. You know how account teams have the win flash or the win wires that, hey, we sold this, yay, and it was this much. Do the same for recruitment of advocates. Hey, we got the CIO, and hey, they're willing to talk about this product and this new launch, and who helped you get that advocate. Do the same. You have product flashes talking about the new version. You have sales wins. Have advocate wins. Have advocate flashes that you share with the organization. Also, automate as much as you can. Integrate with existing tools as much as you can. Oh my God, it's going to save you so much time. Don't stop using a spreadsheet, please. Get a tool and integrate it with your CRM. Automate with, imagine if you had telephony within your organization so that when you got a phone call from a customer, you immediately knew who was calling you back. That you know that your support team probably has this technology in their organization. See if you can be part of it. Or you know that webbot, that chatbot that you use on your website to prevent people from leaving so quickly. Maybe you can leverage that as part of FAQ for training for new salespeople coming on board for your program. There's just try, rather than going through and having your training all the time, try to build up a little self-service with frequently asked questions, and the chatbot can help you. Just think a little outside the norm and find out what your MarTech stack is. You might already have technology that you can leverage as part of your program to help make things easier for you. I know data integrity comes from being integrated, and whoever enters the data into the CRM, I can leverage that as opposed to having to type everything in manually myself into a spreadsheet or into a different tool. Please consider integration. That will save you so much time and effort. All right, I'm off my soapbox.
And we're short on time.
All right.
You brought up thinking out of the box, BT, and somebody posted a question in the Q&A about challenges in producing customer stories in 2021 and what we're going to look to do in 2022. I know that for us, we were resourceful, and I think a lot of people I saw do this. I definitely not just at DataRobot, where those beautifully produced customer videos that we did in person with the customer, which were no longer available, leveraging Zoom, leveraging OpenReel, some of the different tactics. I think we all got more creative, but I have to say, I think the audience watching, I think appreciated the customer videos, success stories that were less produced because they were a lot more real. We literally had a video shoot planned in London. Some of us were supposed to go. Omicron hit, travel restrictions all kicked in. I deputized the local sales rep, who was one of those early hand raisers that was super excited about giving their customer the spotlight, in quickly trained him, how to do a proper interview. We got some feet on the ground. So, and I'm anxious to see how that video turns out. But I know the customer walked away having had an amazing experience. They always, I'm sure all of you know and have done this, they always enter it a little trepidatious, uncertain what this experience is going to be. We always tell them, listen, we're going to make you a rock star, and they come out of it excited and they would have had fun. So in terms of just thinking out of the box, we've just had to be creative and recognize that maybe we're not going to do those massively gorgeous produced videos that we've done previously, but I think people now are appreciating the more raw communication anyway. And I think it's totally fine. Ultimately, it's about getting the story across and the authenticity.
Okay.
Yes.
We need to move fast. So
Okay.
Just one tip. How do you sharpen yourself? How do you learn something new? What is your, just one tool or one idea, or one thing that helps you grow and improve?
For me, I talk to strangers. I know my mom said, never talk to strangers. I do that, and I welcome it. And I will ping people on LinkedIn who I see talking about subject matters that are, that's kind of interesting. The most recent one lately is dark social, word of mouth being uncontrollable, and anyway, have a conversation with someone down the road.
Love it. You, Asha?
I'm going to double click on that. I mean, I think we can learn so much from each other. And whether it's through webinars like this and somebody adds something in the chat that just completely resonates and you connect with them after the fact. I've done that so much in these last 2 years because we can't meet. And I've made some really great friends and learned some amazing things. But yeah, just sharing ideas in different creative ways. I think we can really learn a lot from each other.
Cool. My one is actually looking at other industries. I love reading and looking at totally other industries and people like general marketing, general industries, and seeing what they do that works well and thinking, how could I apply that in my industry, in my world? Yeah. Okay, next topic is how was the profession evolving? And we wanted to touch how did COVID influence the whole thing? And we also had that question in the survey. So can you see my screen with the survey?
Yes.
Cool. So we also have the results came in. Ooh. But anyway, so how do you think that pandemic, influenced everything, and where are we going? How is the profession evolving? And we'll see what people wrote as well.
Well, I'm going to give my opinion, not that I have any facts or stats on this, but I think COVID helped customer advocacy or advocate marketing to grow. In the past 2 years, a year and a half, my reputation is I post opportunities on LinkedIn for people who are looking to get into advocate marketing.
Right.
And I have been posting more job openings or job creations for advocate marketing than ever before. And I've been doing this for at least the past 4 or 5 years. I think COVID caused it. And I think companies recognized, oh crap, we're going to lose our customers. We need to retain them. We need to do something. Let's create an advocacy program to help with retention, to help with the relationship. Customer success leverages us. Account managers will leverage us. The entire company will leverage advocacy marketing. That's my opinion.
I think it's also coming in the other direction, BT, as well, that it's not just inward out as you described, but I think people, as they're evaluating vendors and who they want to spend their budget on, they're looking to their peers. That's why advisory boards are so popular and are so valuable. People are looking to their peers. We just said that as we talked about how do we skill up, right? How do we get new ideas? We look to our peers. So I think that is really the driving force behind why customer advocacy and customer marketing is continuing to grow.
I think one thing on that, and especially with COVID, is that it all became less physical, right? We less meet people face to face. We less visit our vendors in their offices. We less meet our vendors face to face. We even less meet them in events. And when all that happens, a bit of the trust kind of goes away because it's all screens now. And then you want to gain back trust with people you trust who are your colleagues. So I think, one thing that COVID kind of forced, and you're right, it did expedite the market when we've seen it on any metric, recruitments, like you've mentioned, BT, and outreach to customers, more reference requests, whatnot. But I think one of the things is just that because people have less ways to validate vendors, at the end we're helping buyers. I mean, they have less way to validate vendors in many ways. They want more of the social proof. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Next topic. We touched this a bit, tools and integrations, but any add-ons to this?
I mean, I can't stress enough having a central place of truth for your customer contact information. I think that has been the biggest challenge I've seen across a couple of organizations that I've worked at, that how demand gen brings contacts into your CRM, does that recognize what the need for access to those contacts is then going to be once those contacts become your customers, and how you're able to access that? So, coordinating with the demand gen, the sales ops, marketing ops side to understand how contacts are being managed, I think is hugely important. And that just bleeds into so many other different parts of the program. But having a central place of truth, an advocacy management platform, of course, makes us as customer marketers so much more efficient. And I would just say, the right community, the right CS tool, and then marketing automation. I think those 5 things would...
And integrating all of them together.
Integrating, yes.
That's the big thing.
I can't underline that word enough. The golden rule of technology is it's supposed to make our life easier. And if you have all of these separate technology tools, that's not making it easier. Integrate. The integration makes it easier, saves time, increases data integrity. It's key. Integration.
There's actually a 6th one I forgot to mention. And because we're on the customer side, having visibility into, again, if you're a SaaS company, having visibility into your customers' activity and behavior in your product.
Oh, yes.
And having that visible and integrated into a central place, I think is hugely important, because that contributes to what your lifecycle marketing capability is.
Totally. You want to see if they're active on the community, but they're not references or advocates, why not? They're already contributing. You can try to pull them there. If they're active on the product, again, same thing. If Salesforce tell you, for example, that an upsell had happened, maybe you want to capture that upsell story, right? Integration helps you get so much data that is lost, and then be much smarter on which people you add to your programs, what do you ask of them to do, what is the most important thing for them to do. And it's data should lead the way. We many times see, I think, companies that are kind of asking their CSMs, who's a great advocate or who's a great speaker? And for me, it's like, how would the CSM know who's a great speaker? Have they interviewed them on stage? It's like, they know who's a great customer and loves them. That's kind of what they know. They know whose health score is good. They know who's active on the product. That's what they know, which is great. They can give you a lead. But if you really want to see the full picture, you have to have data and integration.
Absolutely.
Last question, and kind of last 5 minutes, and encourage people to keep on posting stuff on the chat, and ask questions as well, and we can stay over a bit to Q&A if whoever can. So what are your predictions for 2022? This year was, like we talked, very much around growth. So what's going to happen next year?
I think people are anxious to get back in person. We kicked off our first executive cab in November. And as I inquired with our group of 12, are you open to meeting in the next quarter in person? It was a resounding yes. I think, everyone wants to be careful and safe, of course, but I think there is that pent up energy of wanting to resume back in person activities and programs.
Just to enforce that a second, we were just a few weeks ago in Palo Alto, and we met a few of our customers, and they were all like, for the last 18 months, and we met them and we hugged them. We're kind of unofficial like that. And they said, for the last 18 months, we haven't seen our colleagues. Like, it's the first time we're walking into somebody's office, which is, it's crazy. People are craving to get back, into in person. Sorry, go ahead, BT.
Well, Gal, when I met you face to face in Boston in November, I was exhausted. I had to actually get up every freaking day and take a shower and actually brush my hair every day and actually, you know, put on that positive energy that you need to do when you're in the office and in person. And moving around. I wasn't, I walk every day, a couple of miles, but I was walking more than just a couple of miles going from a hotel and whatever. So I do think people will want to get together, and I do, but work your way up to it. Come on, start your workout exercise program so you can be face to face with people and not panting or all sweaty like I was. My prediction is going to be working smarter. And people are developing smarter tools for us to do our job more efficiently and appropriately. And I just feel that with the industry growing, there's new technology coming out all the time that we may not be smarter, but we're sure going to look a lot smarter. I can tell you that. I am looking forward to being more efficient and smarter with the new program that I'm building and with the new technology that's coming out.
My prediction is that customer marketing will become more strategic. I think today many CMOs...
It is already. What?
Well, we can debate that, but I mean, it's not enough, right?
There's still a lot more room for growth.
Yeah, I think a lot more CMOs need to meet person in person with their customer marketing and advocacy teams every month. And I love, like, for example, at HubSpot, they're
seat at the table, Gal.
Exactly.
Customer marketing needs to have a voice at the table where the CMO is.
And for example, at HubSpot, their previous chief customer officer, Yamini, who's now their CEO, she would every month look at customers, kind of feedback. So whether it's feedback from community or feedback from, reviews or whatnot, they would actually have a committee looking at that and answering and product requests and whatnot. Customer came into the, not just the customer marketing teams, but the customers themselves every month were on the executive table. And I think that should happen in every company, and that's going to happen much more, I believe. That's my prediction. But we are the people that need to push them. We need to advocate for them as well, and for the practice. We are the advocates of our own practice. Cool. We're at time. I don't know if anybody wants to ask a question quickly in the chat or in the Q&A. If not, first of all, thank you so much, Asha and BT, for taking the time and sharing your knowledge with everybody. Thank you for all the people that joined us and found time. It's recorded, and we'll share the recording. We'll also share the winners. Love having these sessions. We're going to have a lot more of them next year and a lot of great things to come. But yeah, if anybody wants to have any more questions, we can wait a minute or two. And if not, we'll just wish you all happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and anything else we can wish you. Success.
Thank you so much, Gal. Thank you, BT. And thank you to everybody in the chat. There's been some really great comments.
Discussion.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. I don't
Thank
see
you.
any questions. So goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Happy New Year.
Bye-bye.